Welcome to the Literally First Class podcast, where I will teach you how to overcome anxiety and achieve somatic success. I'm your host, Keri Ford. I'm a somatic success and holistic life coach here to bring humor, insight, and wisdom to the modern day woman that wants to feel alive in her daily life. You ready? Come on, I saved you a seat in first class. Today, I thought I would be answering your questions. This is a great time to do that. I've actually never done an episode where I've answered your questions live. And sometimes I get the same questions either on calls with potential clients or with new clients or just people in my DMs or Facebook group or wherever you find me interacting with my content. And so I'm just going to riff on some of these questions that I've received. The first question is, what if I can't feel any sensations? And what she wanted to know was, will somatic work for her? And I said that life is always being experienced at the level of sensation. So even if you can't feel anything, that's still a feeling, and we start there. Now, generally, and in most cases that I've experienced, it just means that there is a bit of a block or potentially doesn't feel safe to be in your body or to connect and experience those sensations. So we start with creating some safety, relative safety in our container, safety within your body for you and yourself, to start to feel things, to start to come back online. And we do that at the pace of your nervous system. So it's not uncommon for people when I ask them, especially if they're new to the somatic work, tell me where you feel that. And they're like, oh, I don't know. Or I'll ask them, can you tell me what that feels like? And they'll say, I don't feel anything. And that's okay. That's just where we start. So nothing is wrong with you. It's pretty normal, actually, especially if you have not been doing somatic work. And somatic work means that we are doing felt sense experience work, right? We're getting into the level of sensation in the body and in the nervous system. But if you haven't been listening or you haven't been tuning in that way, and you spent a lot of time up in the thinking brain and the cognitive mind of thought, it might be hard. And so that's okay. That's just where we start. What if I hate meditation and breath work? They don't work for me. Cool. That's okay. There are so many somatic practices, and this brings me to another point, which is the difference between somatic therapy and somatic practice. Somatic therapy is when you work with a trauma-trained practitioner, someone like me that has undergone training or is in training to hold containers and spaces like that. So they help actually renegotiate trauma in the body. And then there's somatic practices that can potentially connect you into the body. But don't forget what I answered in the first question, which was, I don't feel anything. That person may feel safe everywhere, but in their body. And so meditation and breath work from the trauma-informed lens may actually cause more activation and be more triggering than it is helpful for you, especially, at first. So it's okay if you hate meditation and breath work. Let's say that you don't struggle with feeling sensations, but meditation and breath work just aren't your jam. That's okay too. There are other somatic practices, things that help you practice getting in the body, staying in the body, experiencing the body, other than meditation and breath work. So that's like saying if you didn't like spin classes and lifting, then you're not in creation to do somatic healing work. That's not necessarily true. There are so many forms of somatic work and somatic practice. So what I would say is try different types of meditation, try different types of breath work, and just see. I would never take a single spin class and say, oh, I hate spin. So when I used to teach spin classes, whenever I used to take or instruct spin class, I would tell people, hey, if this is your first time, I may not be the instructor for you. Go try another instructor's class, or try this class 3 different times to really get an idea of whether or not it's this class or the novelty of it, or if it's me, the instructor, maybe we just don't vibe, and that's okay. So maybe it's the meditation teacher, maybe it's the type of breath work. You can try those things too. We did a sound bath actually at the retreat I just hosted a couple weeks ago, and everybody had individual experiences, which is so amazing and so cool. Some people, they were like, oh my gosh, I feel this. It was amazing. I'm so relaxed and peaceful. Other people were like, I don't know, I kind of felt activated. And then somebody else was like, I felt pissed off because I couldn't fucking feel anything. And what the hell's wrong with me? And who knows, right? Like, who knows why she wasn't able to feel anything in that moment? It was her first sound bath. It was at the end of a very long, exhausting, emotionally releasing day. And we were just sort of sitting with that. And I said to her, maybe your body sort of had enough input for today, and it was not open to receiving even the potential experience available for you here. And that's okay. And she's like, oh man, that really resonates for me. That is super interesting. And as amazing as this sound bath healer is, we also suggested that she potentially try a different sound bath healer if she's still curious about trying it. And if it's just not for her, then it's not for her. Try something else. That's okay. So there are all different somatic practices and different embodiment things that you can do. So if you hate meditation and breath work, totally fine. There are so many other things that you can find that work for you or that you resonate with. For me, I love meditation because it taught me how to listen. It taught me how to be with myself. And I'm extremely visual. And so playing with my mind's eye and vision really helped me treat that as truth. That's me. That's how I operate in the world. So for me, meditation was amazing, and it's why I created a meditation program, the Millionaire Mindset. I was like, everyone needs this. This is amazing. But it's completely based on my own experience with it. Breathwork, I enjoy it. It's an experience. It's not something I gravitate toward. I find it to be a little activating. It helps me move through things when it feels stuck, but it's not something that I feel is super nurturing and nourishing for me on the regular. Other people love it. So I would just explore different modalities and be open to every single experience being different than the last. All right, next question. How do I get my partner to do the work? Well, short answer is we can't. We can't get your partner to do the work because we can't choose growth and healing for them. But what we can do is we can choose to do the work, and we can lead by inspiration and example. And so that, just by the very nature of doing it, will help create more harmonization in the household. And this is a very real concern with women that feel like they might outgrow their partner if they choose the path of growth, or that they might not resonate with their partner anymore, or that their partner will remain stagnant and not continue down this path. And they might not. They might not choose growth. You might outgrow them. There might not be resonance. Those are all potential risks. But I will tell you, if you're called to do quote unquote the work, inner work, healing work, growth work, mindset work, personal development work, all of it, where you're committed and curious and hungry to become the best version of you, that how can that not inspire a partner that is truly in it with you for the long haul? And my views on marriage, having been married, now divorced, and in a long-term partnership now, have drastically changed. I actually feel like the minute you stop being growth-minded, the minute you've broken your vows, that's how deeply I feel that this is a non-negotiable for who I be in the world. It doesn't mean that I'm always broken and therefore always healing. It means I'm always committed to living life on the edge of growth and expansion because that's what makes me feel alive. I don't want to go back to sleep. I don't want to make unconscious decisions. I don't want to automatically build a life out of unconscious programming. I want to consciously choose to the best of my ability and my current level of awareness the life I have, and I want my partner to do the same. So they meet me in the work, And actually, that's the only place that Jake and I ever end up meeting in. So our two non-negotiables and our top two like values in relationship are God and the work. And one could argue that they're both the same. So we seek God, we seek love, we seek the work. And in that place, we always meet. So maybe you didn't start your partnership with that being the vow that you entered into union with, or in your long-term partnership or what have you, but you can always redefine it. And if you truly have a partner that is taking their 100% and you're committed to your 100%, 200% is always a beautiful equation for a growth-minded partnership. So we can't get them to do the work. We can read books with them, right? We can bring the work in and share a lot of these things together. We can hire individual mentors. You can sign up for couples workshops and retreats, of which Jake and I might offer actually in the near future. So please let me know if that's something that you're interested in. We can't get them to do it. We can certainly lead by inspiration and example, because those that are doing the work, those that are changing and elevating, it's inevitable that people witness that change. Now, I think what happens a lot in partnership is that the partner not doing the work thinks that the other partner has hired a mentor to potentially leave the partnership or figure out a way to get out. I'm not saying that's always the case. I'm saying oftentimes there seems to be some sort of dynamic where that partner fears being left behind. The other one who signed up for the work fears outgrowing them. And then they kind of like play and poke at each other's wounds there and trigger that. So the best way to help create the bridge there is to invite the partner that has not signed up for the mentor into the work by sharing what it is that you have come to newfound awareness around. Oh my gosh, today in my session, I realized X, Y, and Z. Or what I would love support with and what I'm currently working on is X, Y, and Z. Or my coach or my mentor suggested this book, or I heard about this one book. Would you be interested in reading it with me? Wherever you can invite them in to be part of the journey, it helps to create more of that bridge between you rather than the illusion of separation between you. Because I know that most of the women trying to do this work are trying to lean into deeper levels of intimacy, vulnerability, and connection rather than the opposite. And so it's a huge fear. And then both partners, like I said, become triggered. So bringing them into the work and saying that this is not about having my thing separate from you. This is about me learning how to be the best version of me for us and for you, right? And it's obviously for the person signing up as well. But once we presence that, it kind of changes the narrative and it puts to bed some of the stories that the other partner might potentially be having. So we can't get them to do the work, but we can certainly inspire them and we can invite them in to all of the ways in which that we're excited about this together. So yeah, that's how I would answer that question. How will nervous system work for me and my business? A couple months ago, I did a post about how dysregulation shows up in leadership. And I actually created an entire framework inside the Somatic Success Academy, which is a school of somatics for women in leadership. And the ways in which this shows up is oftentimes playing out these patterns and unconscious behaviors that we keep like experiencing over and over and can't figure out why or where our foot is on the gas pedal. And so it shows up in sneaky sabotage, like self-sabotage, where we're at an upper level limit and, oop, that doesn't feel safe. I've lost my peace. I need to go back to what I know. And so it'll sound very rational, but fear will kind of talk you out of the very thing that you want because it feels scary to step into the uncertain and potentially be somewhere that you've never been before, right? So that's an upper level limit. There is some self-sabotage sometimes that happens there. So now when you do nervous system work, you get to know where fear shows up, how it feels in your system, and you start to cultivate an increased capacity to have, hold, and keep more, right? Which means you feel safer to hold the next level and keep it. And so that's where nervous system work is super important. Obviously, that goes in tandem with the identity work around it as well. Another thing is, let's say you're constantly going through hiring and firing cycles. Maybe you're the common denominator, right? If you're a dysregulated leader and you're constantly making decisions from the space of your reactive anxiety, you're not making high-level decisions. You're not making great decisions at all. In fact, you're making decisions from reactivity and anxiety because of your inability to sit with it. And the more you can exercise the power of the pause and make higher level decisions from a space of presence and peace, the better your leadership will be by default. So maybe it's the leadership that is the issue, not necessarily the people that you're cycling through. Maybe it's both, right? It's hard for me to tell. How else will nervous system work for you in your business? You will really be able to hear your intuition and get clarity on what it is you actually want, not what it is you think you should want or what looks good. Because so often I work with women that have a lot of success on paper, and then they get all of those things and they're like, this isn't really what I thought success would feel like. I thought it would feel different. I thought I would feel more successful. I thought I would be happier, more fulfilled, less anxious. And yet I find myself constantly chasing the next project, or just in this state of like, I'm just never fulfilled, like state of unhappiness and dissatisfaction. So that will certainly help with managing anxiety, right? Taking time off, creating a work-life balance, whatever the fuck that is for most people. How will nervous system work for me in my business? What about you saying you want a Friday off, or you want to go on vacation and actually be off? Actually take time off. I have worked with women that are in tears at the idea of taking time off. They literally cannot fathom taking their foot off the gas pedal. In fact, they feel sheer panic at the thought of taking time off because, oh my God, they think, what if I lose everything I've worked so hard for and I take my foot off the gas and I lose it all? You can't get there, wherever that next level is, if the level of success you've created right now and the way you got there is not sustainable. Your body will burn out and get sick. And if you don't slow down, your body will do it for you. So you'll probably experience better health if you do the nervous system work, right? Less headaches, less grinding of your teeth, less chronic pain, less digestion issues, all the ways that chronic stress shows up. So that will help because you will be able to manage and metabolize the stress you already have in your life. And then you're going to get some real-time tangible solutions around what to do when you feel overwhelmed and how to reel it in and actually take time off, because deep down you really know that you need it and that your best work is going to come from that state of relaxation. Because don't forget, stress contracts the vision, relaxation returns us to it, right? And so that is really important. I mean, I could seriously sit here and probably list off like 50,000 at least 50,000 other ways that nervous system work will work in your business and why. It doesn't matter if you're an executive. It doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur. But I know the sweet spot of women that I work with are very seasoned executives and entrepreneurs. Typically, they are beyond the basics. They're beyond the foundational beginner part of definitely entrepreneurship. They've been doing this a while. They've had some really big success. And now they're looking to maintain that and potentially create more success or expand out from the success they already have, but do it in a way that feels better to their body, to their spirit, and to their life, because a lot of them are moms. They have trouble being present. They feel like they should be anywhere but where they are, including when they're with their kids. They're on their phone. Then when they're on their phone, they should feel like they should be with their kids, right? Like, what a mind fuck that is. And so how can nervous system not work in your business is really the question I would have. It can't not help. So there are so many ways. And you can go back and find that post on Instagram. It says, I think it's called 5 Ways Dysregulation Shows Up in Leadership. But there's also like green flags that show up in leadership too, right? Like where a really regulated leader doesn't feel competition, they feel collaboration, where they create a lot of peace instead of fear in the culture, where they value their employees' mental health and tell them take time off because they know that in the employees taking time off, they will actually do better work when they are back on and in the office and working. And that only increases and exponentially expands the mission and the movement that they're all in creation of. So there are so many benefits to the nervous system work in business. If you have questions that you want to ask me, go ahead and submit those. You can just shoot us a DM to @literallyfirstclass. Make sure you send it to that account. And I'll do these periodically if there's questions, or I'll just gather some from client sessions or conversations that we have so that I can really provide you some real-time feedback about things that those of you may be wondering. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you on the next episode.
I hope you enjoyed your flight, and I'll see you on board again soon.
Seriously though, thanks for listening. If you're ready to take this work deeper and upgrade your mind, I want to invite you to join us inside my Millionaire Mindset program. This is where you'll start using my guided meditations to help you overcome anxiety and experience even more abundance. When you join, you'll have access to my entire audio library. Head over to elevatewithkeri.com and we'll see you inside.